filmed the thumbnail of this video and I am like now physically exhausted. Guys, it's Reagan and today I have an absolutely massive March book haul for you guys today. You can kind of see the top of the stack right here. This is like stacked. I did a lot of book shopping this month. Basically, there's just been so many amazing releases that have come out as of late, and I have just not been shy about getting my hands on them. So without further ado, we're just gonna go ahead and jump right in because this is probably gonna be a longer one. I also like minorly damaged my skin trying to hold up all of the books for the thumbnail, so you're welcome, self-endangerment. I do it for the YouTubes. First book I'm gonna show off to you guys is Hunted by Megan Spooner. This is a new release this month and I've been seeing it around, I've been seeing the arc around and it's always caught my eye. This is a YA fantasy Beauty and the Beast retelling, and I think with the whole movie situation, I have just been really like drawn to these like famous fairy tale retellings, so specifically this Beauty and the Beast one because, hello, the movie. I do believe this is a darker retelling of the story and I believe it involves combat, and like I said, I've heard really fantastic things. This has really good reviews so far and I love a good retelling and I'm really hoping this is great. Plus the cover of this is so very shiny. Next up is a new release that sounds quite eerie, and that is Nemesis by Brendan Reichs. This follows two characters. The first character's name is Min, and ever since she was 8 years old, every 2 years a man comes, murders her in cold blood, and then hours later she wakes up from this murder, remembering the, murder of herself, but all the evidence of the crime has vanished and she's still alive. Other character is Noah, who was plagued by nightmares of murder and death. So I'm seeing there's a little bit of a connection here between these two characters. It sounds interesting, it sounds super dark, and I'm very intrigued. Next up are two more new releases from Penguin, and I'm actually working with Penguin for these two books, and that is Rebel of the Sand by Alan Hamilton and the new release Traitor of the Throne, the sequel to Rebel of the Sands. Sasha and I read Rebel of the Sands last year for a Prustopia book, and we both really enjoyed it. It's a YA fantasy novel set in the Middle East, and it follows a kick-butt female main character who is super good with sharpshooting and guns, and she basically sets off on a wild adventure through the desert. This is the sequel. There was recently a cover change, which I feel like captures how awesome the female main character is in the story, because accurate. But yes, the Traitor of the Throne is just the continuation of the story. I'm really pumped to pick this up. It looks longer than the first one, which always, to me, points to a great sign. I love when series get longer and longer with every single book. Next up is a book I just absolutely had to pick up, besides the fact that I feel like it's taking the world by storm as it should. It's gotten amazing reviews and it's just a really important story, and that is The Hate You Give by Angie Thomas. This is a debut novel and it is a contemporary story following and inspired by the Black Lives Matter movement, which is obviously an incredibly impactful and important movement that's going on right now in our world. And this is a story that kind of brings a fictionalized but very much inspired by real problems that our society is facing into a YA novel, which just sounds amazing. And this follows our main character Star, who lives between two worlds. She lives and has grown up in a poor black neighborhood but attends a rich white prep school. Her life is shattered, however, when she witnesses the cold-blooded murder of her childhood best friend at the hand of a police officer. This, again, just seems like such a socially relevant, impactful story, and again, I have heard nothing but fantastic things about this. I think this will probably be one of the most important books I read this year, and I'm really excited that it came out. I'm excited to have it. I'm excited to read it. So yeah. Next up is The Fire in the Stars, and this is a YA fantasy novel that has a lesbian romance, which just sounds so cool. This follows our main character Marina, who for her entire life has been betrothed to a prince at a neighboring kingdom that has always been in conflict with her own kingdom and her marriage, and basically she's known her whole life that this is the marriage that's supposed to bring peace between these two places, even though she has no choice. She doesn't want to marry him, but she knows that it's her duty. So at the beginning of this novel, she goes over there to get married. There, she kind of struggles with fitting in, but meets the princess sister and forms an unlikely friendship, and kind of that friendship leads into something more. This something more sounds very interesting. This just sounds like a really politically heavy YA novel that I think has a lot of interesting female and feminist themes, as well as having a very interesting sounding romance, which I'm excited to see. I always love diversity, especially within fantasy books, because I feel like we don't get that nearly as often as we should. But anyway, excited to have this. Next up is a book that was sent to me by St. Martin's Griffin, and I'm also working with them for this video, and that is A Crown of Wishes by Roshani Chokshi. This is the second book too. Star Touched Queen, obviously by the same author. First off, can we just talk about how beautiful these covers are? Because holy crap. This is a story that follows our main character Maya, who has been cursed since childhood because she gets a horoscope upon her birth that basically foretells death and destruction to everything, including the kingdom. She is then married off by her father for a political marriage based on convenience to quell outside rebellions. Once she gets sent to that kingdom, a whole adventure and mystery starts to unfurl itself, and it just sounds like a very dazzling, fantastical read. The sequel just came out, and I'm really excited to dive into the series. I'm excited to have both of them because I normally hate waiting for the next installment to fantasy series. I've heard nothing but great things about this, and I know Roshani has used her own cultural and heritage background to inspire a lot of the things in this world, which just sounds really, really awesome. I hear this has a really interesting and rich, fantastical landscape, and I'm excited to dive right in, probably very soon because girl can't get enough fantasy. Next up is a book that I picked up after I read this author's book this past month, and that is The Sun Is Also a Star by Nicola Yoon. This month I read Everything by her, and I really, really loved it. I thought it was adorable, it was such a quick read, I really enjoyed the ride, and I actually hear this book by this author is even better than Everything, and I was sold, basically. This is a love story between Natasha and Daniel. However, their love story is not as simple as it seems. They kind of fall in love on the streets of New York immediately, but Natasha is 12 hours away from being deported to Jamaica. I think this is a story of love, coming of age. Also gives perspectives on what it's like to be an immigrant in America. This sounds like a really amazing story, impactful, beautiful, and also I think, again, it has a lot to say socially, which is something I always appreciate, and I am just looking forward to this. Nicola Yoon has just a really lovely way of writing, at least that's what I thought in Everything, so I have really high expectations for this book. Next I have All About Mia by Lisa Williamson. This is a new contemporary release by this author. She also wrote The Art of Being Normal. This is a contemporary story following three sisters, our middle sister being Mia and our main character. Her whole life, Mia has always been kind of the outcast of the family. The oldest sister in the family is like a genius, probably gonna go to an Ivy League. The youngest sister is an Olympic swimmer, and Mia has always been the mess. At the beginning of the story, the oldest sister reveals something that she feels like might kind of shift the balance of the family, but actually just kind of makes Mia spiral more out of control. I think we follow her. I think it's a coming of age story. I think it's going to be a family drama and just family relationships, which is something I always find fascinating to read. I really love family drama, so I'm excited to have this as well. Next up is the Proustopia book club pick of the month for the month of March, and this month we are working with Penguin Random House, and that book is Valiant by Leslie Livingston. This is a YA historical fiction with a dash of fantasy. It is set during the Roman Empire and follows our main character Fallon, who is a Celtic warrior princess. Her whole life she's grown up and trained to be a warrior, trained to protect her homeland, especially from Caesar's troops. Because when she was a child, Caesar came to her homeland, killed her sister, and basically took over. So because of that, she has vowed to kill Caesar. However, at the beginning of this novel, when she's older, she's actually captured and sold into slavery to a gladiator school for females to fight for Caesar in the arena. This is an action-packed story full of awesome female gladiator fighting. I've done a full review, which I'll link down below, but this was a lot of fun, let me tell you. Next up is a quick little trilogy, and that is the Dorothy Must Die trilogy by Danielle Page. I was lucky enough to be able to moderate Danielle Page's last book signing for The Yellow Brick War, which just recently came out. It was a lot of fun. It was nice to meet Danielle, and this is obviously a YA retelling of The Wizard of Oz, where Dorothy is evil and they're trying to kill her, basically. So I'm excited to have these. It was really fun to go to the event as well, and these spines are pretty dang pretty. And the last four books I have to show you guys are all from Book Outlet. As you know, I have a Book Outlet page, which I will leave linked down below, but this month, I got some real good ones. I'm excited to show off. First off, I'm just gonna cut to the chase, is probably my favorite, and it is this Penguin Drop Cap edition of Jane Eyre by Charlotte Bronte. I've been wanting this for so long. They're just very expensive and actually kind of hard to find. I got this on Book Outlet for like $8. This is the beautiful cloth bound edition with the colored pages, and they're just so bright. I have this in another, I have another book in this edition and it's just one of my favorite books in my collection, so I'm so excited to have literally like my favorite book of all time in this edition as well. Oh, and I just noticed on the back it has my favorite quote from the whole story. I would always rather be happy than dignified, like right there. Oh, this just makes me so happy. I'm so excited to finally have a hard copy edition of this book because I never did, but now I do. I have a physical copy now, and it's beautiful. The next book I picked up is The Invention of Wings by Sue Monk Kidd. This came out a few years ago and is incredibly popular when it did come out. I think Oprah picked it as her book club pick or something like that, and apparently it's a beautiful story. It's very short. And this is a story following two women from two different generations, both struggling to find their place in society and struggle to find freedom. I believe it has a lot to do with slavery at the turn of the 19th century. I hear this is a really powerful and impactful story, so I'm excited to have it. I've only heard really good things about it, and I saw it for such a good price, I couldn't say no. Next up is a book I'm pretty pumped about. I've actually recently been in very much of a contemporary mood, which I feel like I never say, but I found The Unexpected Everything by Morgan Matson on there for a really good price, and I've actually read a lot of Morgan Matson's books in the past, and I really have enjoyed all of them. I find them to be like such perfect summer reads. They're so quirky, they're so fun, they're so lighthearted. There's nothing too intense in there that they just make such the easy, breeziest, wonderful, hilarious reads. And this follows our main character, Andy, who had everything planned out in her whole life. She's the daughter of a politician. And she's been kind of planning out her whole life, get that perfect internship, get the perfect college, things like that. But something happens, a scandal, and it kind of turns her life upside down, and now she's walking a whole bunch of dogs and she's having a strained relationship with her father. This just sounds really good. And also, look, there's a little pug on the back there. Matilda's right there. No, Matilda's right there. I got confused, but look. But yeah, this is just so cute. And the very last book to this very long haul, oh my goodness, is The Girls by Emma Cline. This is a book, again, I've seen around and I've heard really great things about. And this just follows a whole bunch of girls in Northern California in the late 1960s. I'm pretty sure it's gonna be full of hippies, full of feminism, and full of empowering women who come from a variety of different places and all sorts of walks of life. And it honestly sounds awesome. And I'm really excited to have it. I love this cover. I think it's so cool, and I am just pumped. That's all I have to say. Alrighty guys, that is my incredibly long book haul. I wasn't kidding when I said I got a lot of books this month. I do hope you enjoyed, and yes, let me know down below anything you've recently gotten, as I would love to know, and I will see you soon with another video soon. Goodbye!